Sleep is essential to health, well-being, and successful functioning. One of the most important things you can do to fuel your success as a student is to get enough sleep. In college and life, there are many opportunities to forego sleep. Whether it's to study, hang out with friends, catch up on social media, or get lost in a good book, many of us sacrifice sleep for other activities to find enough time to get more done in our busy schedules. However, repeatedly compromising on sleep needs can take a toll. For example, lack of sleep impacts our physical health. When we are sleep deprived, our immune systems underperform and we are not able to fight off infection and disease as readily. Thus, in addition to lacking energy and feeling tired after bad sleep, we are also putting ourselves at risk for illness. Sleep debt shows up in our emotions as well, making us more irritable and more vulnerable to stress, anxiety, and depression. Insufficient sleep impairs our ability to cope with stress, and stress impairs our ability to sleep, creating a cycle that is detrimental to our well-being. Sleep deprivation also impacts our judgment, our ability to make good decisions. The consequences of this can create unnecessary stress as well. Where sleep loss becomes especially problematic is in cognitive functioning, ironically, since staying up late to study is one of the main causes of sleep deprivation in college. While we are sleeping, our brains are busy assimilating new information, strengthening important neural connections, and eliminating some others. When we don't get the sleep we need, we short-circuit that process. Sleep plays a vital role in the processing of information and the formation of new memories. When individuals are exposed to new material, they are better able to recall that material after they have slept. Further, individuals who've gotten enough sleep are better able to apply that information the next day, not just recall facts. Think of being able to demonstrate deeper understanding of a concept in an essay exam rather than just recognizing or restating a fact. Sleep deprivation diminishes our cognitive processing power. That is not an option we want to regularly choose when we need to think to succeed. As important as sleep is to our academic success and personal well-being, it is helpful to be aware of the factors that affect sleep quality. Conditions conducive to good sleep include quiet, darkness, and a cooler temperature. Use white noise to help block out random sounds from your surroundings and an eye mask to help block out ambient light. Circadian rhythm refers to the 24-hour cycles of our biological processes, such as body temperature, blood sugar level, and the sleep-wake cycle. We are perhaps most aware of our circadian rhythms when we experience disruptions to our sleep cycle. Changing the timing of sleep episodes can desynchronize the rhythm. Jet travel, insomnia, and shift work, where one works at night and tries to sleep during the day for part of the week, can all cause significant disruption. Ideally, people would go to sleep and wake up at the same time each day, allowing the cycle to remain consistent. Too much stimulation can make it difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep. Caffeine is a commonly known cause. Another culprit that may surprise you is your technology. The light emitted by your electronic devices can interrupt the biological processes that precede falling asleep. For a better night's sleep, cut off your caffeine consumption at least 6 hours before you plan to sleep and create a screen-free zone for at least an hour before your bedtime. Log off and power down to allow your internal clock to do its work. Across a night of sleep, we cycle through different stages. The typical night of sleep begins with a gradual, relaxed transition to stage 1, a light sleep where the activity of the brain looks very similar to that of the awake brain. Next, stage 2 is still a relatively light sleep, but in this stage, one is no longer consciously aware of the environment. Stages 3 and 4 are deeper sleep, where the brain activity is least like that of the awake brain. Thus, it is most difficult to awaken from these stages, and people typically report feeling disoriented when they do. These deep sleep stages are also where sleepwalking and sleep talking can occur. After cycling down into deep sleep, the brain cycles back up through the stages. When it would reach stage 1 again, it typically enters REM sleep instead. REM stands for rapid eye movement. This is the stage of sleep when we are most likely to dream and most likely to remember those dreams. In REM sleep, the activity of the brain is very much like that of the awake and alert brain. Consequently, it is easiest to awaken from this stage of sleep. On average, the full sleep cycle, down to deep sleep and back up again, occurs in 90-minute intervals. As the night wears on, we do not go into the deep sleep stages as often, replacing that time in the cycle with more REM sleep. This is helpful for waking up and is one of the reasons it is easier to awaken after sufficient sleep. We're more likely to be near the surface in a mode resembling the awake brain. If your schedule is such that you know you won't get more than 6 hours of sleep one night, it may be helpful to plan your sleep session with a 90-minute cycle in mind, in hopes of the alarm going off during a lighter stage of sleep. The literature is mixed on whether you can make up a sleep debt by napping or sleeping longer and later when you can. One argument suggests that lost sleep is just lost, and it is counterproductive to try to make it up with extra sleep. Doing so can disrupt your circadian rhythm. On the other hand, it is hard to argue with the experience of feeling better after a nap. If you're going to nap, use what you've learned about the sleep cycles to make good choices. The power nap refers to a brief 10 to 20-minute nap, which can be effective since you rest but don't go into the deeper sleep stages. The classic 1-hour nap can be quite problematic, as you are most likely to be in stage 3 or 4 of deep sleep and have a difficult time waking up, feeling groggy and disoriented instead of rested. Remember, sleep is essential to health, well-being, and successful functioning. Plan ahead and treat sleep as you would other important appointments. One expert on human flourishing recently suggested that the most impactful intervention we could make on student success and well-being is to encourage students to get more sleep. That's a powerful message.